This is Weston-super-Mare, a seaside town like any other, relying heavily on the summer tourist trade for its economy to stay afloat. From miles of sandy beaches to amusement arcades and cafes, this town has been a seaside destination for more than 100 years. And at its heart, the Grand Pier. Standing dead centre in Weston Bay and visible from anywhere on the promenade, the pavilion stood for over 60 years. Until, in the early hours of July 23rd, 2008, disaster struck. The pier was engulfed in flames, ripping the body of the building apart, leaving nothing but a charred mound of ash. Kerry Michaels, the pier's owner, told me how he felt that fateful morning.
I couldn't imagine how bad it was, quite what the devastation was like when I did see it, and an almost immediate decision to rebuild.
This is the story of a town beaten and battered and one man's struggle to rebuild. The story of not just a pier, but a whole town longing to be grand again. With the pier gone, Weston's tourist trade slowly dried up. The once thriving resort found itself empty, the once flourishing promenade a desolate shadow of its former self. This would have a huge knock-on effect on the rest of the town's industries, and the small independent shopping centre at Dolphin Square quickly fell into a state of disrepair. But just why was one building so important it effectively became the lifeblood of a town?
I guess, everybody is drawn to it. There's something unique about promenading and walking on the water. It's a different experience to just walking down the seafront, so I think that draws people.
It's partly because it's right smack bang in the middle of the main part of Weston Bay, so it's enormously visible and stands out from pretty much anywhere along Weston seafront. So it's got that sort of amazing location. But also, I think socially, it's been part of an awful lot of people's childhoods in and around Weston, not just for the visitors, but also for the people who live here. An awful lot of people grew up with memories of riding on the donkeys here and then go and have a stick of rock on the pier, and it's part of everyone's life, really.
With this in mind, Michaels began a grand rebuild process which would take more than 2 years to complete and cost in excess of £40 million. Aiming to modernise the structure and turn it into a completely 21st century building, the new pavilion was completed and ready to open in October 2010. With a whole host of new attractions, from high-intensity thrill rides to the more traditional crane games and penny drops, the new pavilion building built on the success of the old, while also bringing it bang up to date.
The design brief was that the new building should sympathise with the old, but it was always going to be a 21st century building, rather than trying to mimic exactly what was there.
And the new pier is not the only 21st century renovation coming to Weston. The old, worn-out promenade has been replaced with a brand new paved space, the length of the seafront, with a whole host of new flood defences, and the 90-year-old Boy and Serpent fountain which stood in the centre of Pier Square has seen its surroundings morphed into a completely rejuvenated pedestrian area. The refit comes as part of a multi-million-pound scheme from both North Somerset Council and the South West Development Agency to bring Weston bang up to date. The scheme has also seen the once derelict buildings at Knightstone Island turned into a huge new block of top-end luxury apartments. The town has genuinely seen a revival over the last several years, and this will surely do wonders for the tourism trade in years to come. But just what do the locals think of all this regeneration? And was their money well spent?
Already it's excellent what they've done with the seafront and defences all the way along from from Knightstone Island up to Uphill. It's absolutely superb. The new developments they've done totally enhance the seafront.
With all eyes firmly on the Grand Pier, it's easy to forget Weston's second pier at Birnbeck Island has been closed now for over 20 years. With planning permission just being granted for a huge new development at the Birnbeck end of the bay, the people of Weston will surely be hoping this long-forgotten relic will join the rest of the town in ushering in a new era. Despite all of this, there is still one key site in dire need of regeneration, the old Tropicana. An outdoor swimming pool which closed down over a decade ago, this site has seen numerous attempts to redesign, rebuild or simply demolish it, but none has yet come to fruition.
I'm told by the various different developers who looked at it, it's actually a really difficult site to develop. Doesn't mean to say it can't be done. I believe it can be, and the town everybody here wants to have a pool on the Tropicana site, and amen to that. But it's not easy. If it was easy, it would have been done 10 years ago or even 20 years ago. And so it's tricky, it's a difficult site, it's comparatively small, it's comparatively constrained, it's got to be really heavily engineered to stand up to all the pounding it gets from the tide in the Bristol Channel, and that means that it's difficult. And you've only got to look around you at what else has happened in Weston. New pier, new promenade, new water park, there's going to be a brand new Dolphin Square about to be redeveloped, all these other great things. You can see that Weston's coming back. The fact that the Tropicana hasn't happened yet just shows you that it's the site that's tricky.
But for some people in the town, this simply won't be good enough.
Well, it's such an eyesore now. It's either it needs to be pulled down or something more positive done with it. You know, so many thousands of people in Weston are disappointed that we haven't got a swimming pool, and you know, it's such a shame. It's a missing link to the seafront, really.
This will be the first summer season in the town since the reopening of the pier, and the figures collected by North Somerset Council and the Tourist Information Centre suggest it's on course to see as many as 4 times as many people come into the town compared to last year. With the addition of a new high-speed go-kart track at the pier, the range of attractions on offer is bigger and better than ever before, and this will no doubt draw people back in. I suppose though there is just one question left to answer. Isn't the very concept of piers and of seaside towns a bit dated? In the year 2011, do people really still need towns like this?
Oh gosh, yeah. It certainly brings the people to the town. I mean, it certainly enhances the town and makes the town very vibrant. Oh yeah, definitely need places like Weston-super-Mare. People enjoy the beach and they enjoy the pier.
It's odd because some people have this old-fashioned view of piers. They think they're a bit 19th century, a bit sort of past it and tired. Actually, what Weston's new pier has done is shown that that's all wrong, and that piers, if you do them right and if you do them in a new modern way, which is what we've got here, they're actually really exciting, they're different, and they're not what people expect. And really what we've got here is an indoor amusement park, if you like, and that's not what people expect, and it just shows they can be smack up to date and really part of a 21st century town.
And as if this wasn't confirmation enough, the pier has just won the National Pier of the Year award for 2011, making it the only pier in the country to ever win the award twice, having won in 2004 for the Old Pavilion. So there we are then. From the troubles of the last few years, Weston has risen like the phoenix from the ashes and come back bigger and better than ever. Weston-super-Mare, a once grand holiday resort, finally on its way to being grand again.